Title: A humble farmer's daughter stuns the millionaire with her piano talent after being disrespected. Chapter 1: The Mysterious Beginning. From the very first moment, an eerie silence hung over the old farmhouse, broken only by the faint rustle of leaves stirred by an unseen breeze. Strange shadows flickered across the cracked walls, as if the house itself held secrets desperate to be uncovered. Every creak of the floorboards echoed like a whispered warning, while outside, the distant howl of a lone wolf sent chills down the spine. Something was undeniably wrong, a hidden truth lurking just beneath the surface, waiting to unravel. The air grew thick with anticipation as unexplained lights danced in. The darkness and the townsfolk's hushed rumors spoke of an ancient curse that no one dared to challenge. Each strange occurrence piled upon the last, weaving a tangled web of mystery that pulled the reader deeper into the story, craving to know what sinister forces were at play. As the sun set, casting an orange glow over the fields, Lily sat in her dimly lit room, her fingers poised over the keys of a weathered piano. Each note she played whispered of dreams she had long kept hidden. The villagers saw her as just the farmer's daughter, but music was her sanctuary, the one place where neither her family's struggles nor societal expectations could reach. She often imagined herself on grand stages, captivating audiences with melodies that poured from her heart. But dreams felt like fragile glass. One wrong move, and they could shatter. That night, as she tuned her piano, Lily's thoughts drifted to the upcoming charity gala at the town hall. Should she perform her piece? She had been practicing. Her heart raced at the thought of sharing her music, but then doubt crept in like a shadow. Would the wealthy elite, the very ones who mocked those less fortunate, appreciate her talent, or snicker at her modest roots? At the gala, the stark contrast between the shimmering gowns of the elite and Lily's simple dress was like a spotlight. The chatter of laughter and clinking glasses resonated in her ears as she took to the stage, her heart pounding wildly. Nervousness made her fingers tremble as she began to play. But the moment her music filled the room, a hush fell over the crowd. Yet as the final notes faded, the laughter erupted. Not applause, but mocking. Faint whispers and derisive chuckles filled the air. "How quaint," one voice sneered. "A farm girl, dreaming too big." The pain sliced through her like a bitter chill, leaving her breathless. She fled the stage, the echo of their laughter haunting her every step. Unbeknownst to her, Ethan, a millionaire businessman with an appreciation for classical music, watched from the shadows. He saw not a failure, but the raw potential in her talent, the kind of passion that could change lives. While the elite giggled, he felt an instinctual protectiveness stir within him. How could they dismiss her? As fate would have it, just as Lily's heart sank and she considered giving up music forever, a letter arrived at her doorstep. The words inside shimmered with promise. A scholarship opportunity to a prestigious music conservatory. Her mind raced, caught between her tumultuous emotions and her buried dreams. But the taunts from the gala lingered. A rival of Ethan learned of his intrigue with Lily and saw an opportunity to exploit her vulnerability, suggesting that She'd never truly belong among the elite. Lily stood at a crossroads. She could either reclaim her gift or let the ghost of that night envelop her once more. With hope flickering dimly like a candle in the wind, she opened the letter. Was it a lifeline or another snare? The answer awaited just beyond her fears. The shadows of the old farmhouse loomed large. Would she step out from beneath them, or let them consume her entirely? Lily's heart hammered in her chest as she held the letter. She could feel its weight, the words dancing before her eyes like a whirlwind. Hope and fear mingled in a dizzying swirl. She could finally break free. Right? But would she really have the courage, the drive, to fight against their mocking laughter? She took a deep breath, summoning every ounce of bravery within her. Just then, a loud crash echoed from downstairs. A sound so sharp and jarring, it pulled her from her thoughts. Her heart raced anew, and she leaped from her chair, skirting the creaky wooden floor. Was someone breaking in? "Mom? Dad?" she called. Silence answered her. The house felt too quiet, too still. Fear coiled in her belly. She gripped the letter tighter, the paper crumpling under her fingers. As she descended the staircase, the air grew colder, almost icy. Shadows shifted under the flickering light, and she nearly stumbled, heart thudding in synchronized beats with her footsteps. At the bottom, the living room lay in disarray. A bookshelf toppled, papers scattered like fallen leaves. But that wasn't what made her freeze. No, it was the figure standing there, back turned to her. "Ethan?" she whispered, eyes widening in disbelief. The millionaire from the gala? What was he doing in her home? He turned slowly, a mix of surprise and something darker painting his face. "Lily, I need to explain." His voice was strained, as if he'd been fighting a battle that left him weary. Before she could respond, another sound shattered the silence, a low, guttural growl that sent chills up her spine. From the corner of her eye, she caught movement, a glimpse of something wild, something monstrous lurking in the shadows behind Ethan. Panic surged through her, and she stepped back. What is that?" Willie gasped, her breath hitching in her throat. Ethan's expression shifted, and dread washed over him. "I didn't want you to find out this way," he said, his tone grave. "But it's not just your dreams at stake, Lily. It's your life." Her heart sank. "What do you mean?" Then, from the darkness, it emerged, a creature with fierce, glowing eyes, its fur matted, clawed hands stretched out like a predator ready to pounce. She stumbled back, her head spinning. This was not just a nightmare. It was her worst fears come to life. "Stay back!" Ethan shouted, raising his arm. But the creature was quicker, lunging with a speed that defied understanding. "Ethan!" she screamed, feeling time stretch impossibly as shadows twisted around them. The creature bore down on him, but just as it did, she felt a surge of energy, a burning warmth igniting deep within her. In an inexplicable moment, she reached for her piano key, a melody rising from her lips. A song that seemed to resonate with the air. Notes filled the space, vibrating with power. The creature hesitated, confusion flickering in its fierce gaze. "Lily!" Ethan called, but confusion flooded her. Mind, how could music combat this darkness? "Don't stop!" he urged, pain flashing across his face. The creature faltered, but uncertainty coursed through her. The gala's laughter echoed in her head, every doubt creeping back. What was this? Some twisted joke? Just when she thought she could conquer her fears, this new terror loomed larger. With a deep breath, she played harder, losing herself in the melody. But the shadows around them pulsed, hungry for her despair. Where did it come from? What does this mean? She thought, desperation mixing with panic. And then, before the last note could hang in the air, an explosion of shimmering light erupted from the piano, engulfing them both. In that blinding radiance, reality shifted, and in the chaos, she heard a voice, a familiar voice, ring out. You cannot escape who you truly are. With that, everything shattered. The light surged, and in the aftermath, nothing remained the same. Would she embrace the truth? As the dust settled, one question lingered like a haunting echo. What had she become? As the blinding light faded, Lily blinked, trying to grasp what had just happened. Her heart raced, each beat echoing in her ears like thunder. Where was she? Around her, the room shimmered, transforming into a swirling mist infused with golden sparks. The creature was gone, vanished into thin air, but a suffocating weight pressed down. On her chest, an unshakable feeling of dread. Ethan stood before her, his face a mix of confusion and relief. But there was something else, a shadow deep in his eyes that sent a chill down her spine. "Lily," he said softly, reaching out as if to comfort her. "You're safe." But was she? Just moments ago, darkness loomed behind him, and now everything felt so fragile, as if the world was teetering on the edge of a knife. "Did you see that?" she stammered, trying to steady her breath. "What was that thing?" "It's a long story," Ethan began, but before he could finish, a sudden crack echoed through the room, splitting the air like thunder. The walls shuddered, and Lily instinctively took a step back. But this wasn't her old farmhouse. This was something else. The space around them warped, shifting, as if it had a will of its own. "What's happening?" Her voice was barely above a whisper, fear clawing at her throat. "I don't know," he admitted, his eyes darting around. "It shouldn't be—" Before he could complete his sentence, he gasped. A heavy thud resonated from the floor, and a dark shape emerged from Ethan's back. It slithered, twisting, like smoke given form. At first, she thought it might be another creature, but the shape coalesced into a shadowy figure. A woman, eyes glowing with a fierce intensity. The moment she appeared, the air crackled with tension. Lily's stomach knotted, an animal instinct screaming at her to run. "Ethan," the figure hissed, each word dripping with venom. "You thought you could hide from me?" Ethan's face paled. "No, it can't be. I didn't want you to find out like this." "Find out what?" Lily shouted, her voice breaking. "Who are you?" The woman's piercing gaze fixed on her. "You're the key," she responded, a cruel smile stretching across her lips. "You're the reason he's alive. You don't know what you are or what you've awakened." Lily's breath caught, confusion swirling in her mind like a storm. "What are you talking about? Ethan helped me. He saved me." "Helped you?" The woman laughed, a sound sharp as glass. "He lured you here, played the part of the hero, all for a chance at power." "No," Ethan's voice was urgent, desperate. "Lily, that's not true. I wanted to protect you." The woman stepped closer, shadows twisting around her, as if they were alive. Protect or in prison? You don't know who you're dealing with, girl. You're not just a farm girl. You're part of a legacy, and I'll make sure you remember. Lily's heart pounded as she felt the floor tremble beneath her. The room was shifting again, like a tide turning, threatening to pull her under. A vision flashed before her eyes, her hands on the piano keys, playing not just notes, but weaving power. Where had that strength come from? "Leave her!" Ethan shouted, stepping forward, voice firm yet trembling. "She's not your pawn!" The shadowy figure laughed, but it was a chilling sound, devoid of warmth. "You think you can protect her? You've already made the choice, Ethan. You can't go back now." In an instant, the walls echoed with a crescendo, and the room exploded in a blinding flash of light once more. Lily felt herself being pulled in every direction. She heard screams, faint cries, overshadowed by thunderous roars. And then everything snapped to silence. When she opened her eyes, she was alone, free falling through darkness. A single question echoed in the void. What had just happened? And then she remembered the glowing eyes of the woman, the truth about her own legacy. The shadows loomed larger now, pressing against her soul, whispering secrets she had never wanted to hear. The depths of uncertainty gripped her, thick and suffocating as she descended. Where would she land? What would she become? The answers were lost in darkness, but their weight was undeniable. As darkness enveloped her, Lily felt the weight of uncertainty clutch at her heart. She was suspended in an endless void, the echoes of her fears swirling around her like a tempest. Just as panic threatened to seep into her veins, the air shimmered again, brightening the darkness. Suddenly, she wasn't alone. A figure materialized, cloaked in darkness, yet somehow familiar. As the shadows peeled away, revealing their features, Lily gasped. The figure was her mother, eyes wide with a haunting familiarity, yet laced with sorrow. "Mom?" The word escaped her lips like a prayer, but confusion chipped away at the joy of seeing her. "How are you here?" Her mother didn't speak. Her gaze filled with something profound, something heavy. A mist formed between them, and with it came whispers, snippets of conversations filled with pain. "No, she can't know," a voice echoed. Lily's breath caught. What couldn't she know? "Mom, please." "What is happening?" Her voice trembled, desperation clawing at her throat. "Lily," her mother finally breathed, the word a mere sigh. "You must understand that the truth, it changes everything." Before Lily could grasp the weight of her words, the scenery around them shifted again, becoming a swirling mix of colors, a dreamscape bewildering and surreal. The walls vanished, replaced with images from her childhood, her fingers gracing the piano, her mother humming softly in the background, the warmth of their once happy home. And then a dark shadow crept into those memories, twisting them into something monstrous. "Mom, what was that?" Lily's heart raced, dread pooling in her stomach. "What are you hiding?" As if compelled, her mother stepped closer, extending a trembling hand. "You need to know why I left, why I had to protect you." "Protect me?" The words ignited a firestorm of emotions. "You left me. You vanished without a word." But her mother was undeterred. "Lily, it was never what you thought. Your father, he's not who he says he is. None of it is real." "What do you mean?" The walls felt like they were closing in. "Your legacy isn't just art. It's power. And power comes with a price." Her mother's expression twisted between sorrow and anger. "That's why I had to disappear. Why I needed to—" A bright flash interrupted her, cutting through the heavy atmosphere. They both turned instinctively, and Lily gasped again. Ethan stood at the edge of the swirling colors. His eyes were wide, a storm swirling within them. "Lily, you have to trust me. She's not the person you think." "No!" Her heart sank. "What do you mean?" But before Ethan could answer, the shadow of her mother stretched, twisting into a figure similar to the dark woman they had feared. It was her mother's face, yet darker, more sinister. "Lily, you must join me," the shadow spoke, a voice dripping with malice. "You are the key to everything." A wave of shock crashed over her, fear like ice coursing through her veins. "Join you? Never! Don't you see?" the shadow growled, darkness curling around it like smoke. "Everything you wanted to escape is here, tied to you. Your origins, your music. You have the power to embrace it." Tears spilled down Lily's cheeks. "What do you want from me?" "Control. Freedom," the shadow hissed. "You have to decide, Lily. Choose your side." Ethan stepped forward, voice fierce, desperation clear. "She's not your pawn. Stop!" But just as his plea sliced through the air, the ground split beneath them, swallowing the shadows whole, and with it, the light disappeared into a maelstrom. As she plunged deeper into the chaos, a final thought tormented her. Was the woman she feared truly another version of her mother? Or had she been a puppet all along, drawing Lily back into the darkness she once thought she had escaped? In that moment of free fall, one question howled in the raging storm. Would she find the strength to break free from the chains of her lineage? Lily felt the weight of uncertainty clutch at her heart as she fell through the void. Shadows twisted around her, voices whispering, taunting her. She grasped for thoughts, memories swirling by. The faces of the people she loved blurred into nothingness. Nothing felt real. Just as a wave of despair crashed over her, the scene shifted again. With a jolt, she found herself standing in her old bedroom, the walls plastered with faded posters of musicians she idolized. The piano occupied its familiar corner, a haven amidst the chaos. But the air was different, thick with tension and fear. Confusion twisted in her gut. "Lily!" Ethan's voice rang out, breaking her trance. He stood in the doorway, his face pale, eyes frantic. "You have to come with me." "Where?" she stammered, heartbeat racing. "Trust me." He grabbed her wrist, pulling her out of the room. The walls trembled as shadows slid along them, and behind them, a chilling laugh echoed, her mother's shadow. Ethan tugged her down the darkened hallway, urgency pressing upon them like a vice. "We're running." "Out of time," he urged, glancing back nervously. "You have to believe me." "Believe you?" The walls seemed to close in. "You brought me here! You lied!" "I was trying to protect you," he shouted, desperation creeping into his voice. "We don't have time to argue." With a powerful pull, he dragged her into the living room. The air crackled. A shimmering portal flickered in the center, a swirling mixture of colors, a rift to somewhere unknown. Panic shot through her. "What is that?" Lily gasped, eyes widened in horror. "It's the only way." Ethan opened his mouth to explain, but words faltered. His eyes clouded, then narrowed in fear. Something shifted behind them. The shadowy figure of her mother loomed at the archway, morphed into a dark force, eyes blazing. "You think you can escape?" she hissed, voice dripping with malice. "You're tied to me!" Lily's heart raced. Dread pooled in her stomach, tightening her throat. "No, I won't!" Ethan stepped forward, but the figure lunged, and Lily's world exploded in chaos. A crack like thunder split the air. Shadows scrambled, engulfing them. The portal flickered wildly, struggling to hold against the rising tide of darkness. "Lily!" Ethan yelled, reaching for her. But before he could grasp her hand, shadows surged between them like a wild tide. "Ethan!" she screamed. Grit and panic filled her. "No!" Light flashed, blinding and white. The sound of shattering glass echoed all around her. And then, just as suddenly as it began, it stopped. Lily blinked against the brightness, her breath hitching in her throat. She found herself standing alone in an empty space. No shadows, no darkness, just a vast expanse that seemed to stretch on forever. And in the silence came a revelation, as the realization settled heavily in her chest. "Ethan," she whispered, heart racing dangerously. "Where was he?" Suddenly, a voice echoed, deep and sinister from behind her. "You thought you could save him?" The sound curled around her like a chilling embrace. She turned, eyes widening, as the shadow of her mother materialized again. But now her features shifted. The darkness shimmered, and the form began to blur. With a flick, it morphed into a wholly different visage, a reflection of Lily herself. Lily staggered back, shock coursing through her. "What?" Her voice trembled. "What are you?" The figure cocked its head, a cruel smirk spreading across its face, eyes glinting with malice. "You're the one who sought power, who longed for more. You think you're innocent? You're part of this dark legacy." "Legacy?" Lily gasped, confusion gripping her like iron chains. "You're not just a farmer's daughter. You're so much more." The truth crashed down upon her like ice water. Everything she thought she knew was unraveling. And as her connections to those she loved flickered like a candle in the storm, one thought blared in her mind with all-consuming fear. What had she truly awakened? And from where she stood, alone in this uncertain space, all she could wonder was if she had been playing the music, or if the music had been playing her all along. Lily felt the air tremble with the shadow of her mother, a weight pressing down on her like thick, cold fog. The figure grinned, a twisted version of the warmth she'd always known, and the sound of Lily's heartbeat thudded loudly in her ears. "Join me, sweetheart," the shadow purred, voice silky yet sharp. "Embrace your true self." Shaking, Lily took a step back, the remnants of her once clear thoughts filling with confusion. "What do you want from me?" "Everything you could possibly desire." The shadow slipped closer, fingers reaching out, claws glistening like daggers. You think you're just a farm girl? Curl, you are destiny. You are the power that can bend reality. You could rule. No, Lily choked, fighting against the fear pooling in the pit of her stomach. I won't be a puppet in your game. But as the shadow drew nearer, a small voice in her head whispered doubts. Could this twisted path hold truth? No, she screamed, defiant. I will not listen. Ethan stood, tension radiating. From him, panic tilting his features. Lily, you must! The shadow cut him off, splintered laughter slicing through the air. You think he'll save you? You think he cares? Stop, Lily cried, clutching her head as if she could block the words. You're not my mother. But the figure paused, features shifting into something sharper, angrier. Oh, but I am. The voice twisted, deepening into a growl. Does that hurt, to hear the truth? Lily hesitated, eyes darting to Ethan's frightened expression. Doubts gnawed at her. Would he really be her savior? Suddenly, the floor beneath her cracked, and a blinding spiral of light erupted around them. Ethan reached for her, his hand zipping through. The light, fingertips brushing hers just as darkness swallowed him whole. No! Her voice was a raw scream, panic exploding from her chest. Lily stumbled back, rooted in place as the light dimmed. She turned, frantically searching for Ethan, but he was gone. In his place, the shadow of her mother loomed larger, dark tendrils reaching out, pulsing with power. You see, Lily, it hissed, the truth is messy, but you are destined to discover it. Then it lunged, fingers gripping the edge of her consciousness, pulling her down, deeper into the shadows. She fought against the rush of darkness, but it clung to her like mud. In that moment, she realized the struggle wasn't just to escape the past, but to face it. But how could she face the monstrous truth? Help, she gasped, breath escaping her throat in strangled sobs. The shadow halted, suddenly still. Eyes burning with a twisted light, it leaned in. Help? It echoed, voice echoing with cruel laughter. Don't you understand? You're my creation. You were the key all along. You thought Ethan was your way out? The impossible happened. The shadow morphed. The darkness breaking and revealing a flicker of light behind it. In that moment, the shadow collapsed into itself, revealing a mirror. Lily's reflection stared back, but something was off. She wasn't just a girl anymore. Power ignited behind her eyes. Rippling with energy, a blast of recognition surged through her. You're me? She whispered, voice tremulous with shock. Inside the pool of light, she saw visions, painful memories, and haunting truths twisted into flashes. But there, beneath it all, was something more. Her mother's love, fiercely protective, rushing to meet her. Then everything darkened again, swallowing her whole. The last thing she felt was warmth fading into a cold silence. And in that abyss, a truth flashed across her mind, profound and harrowing. What if she was never just a pawn in this game? What if she had always been the queen? Could she truly harness the darkness inside her? Would she transform it into something powerful, or be consumed? As colder shadows crept in once more, Lily knew her life was about to change in ways she could have never imagined. Where were they going now? And could she survive the truth of what was to come? Lily stood alone, the shadow of her mother hovering like a storm cloud. The reality of her existence hung in the air, a weight that pressed down on her chest. Every breath felt heavy with fear. She fought against the darkness, wrapping around her like a cold blanket. Ethan was gone, swallowed by that blinding light, and her heart raced, panic clawing at her throat. "Why? Why are you doing this?" she whispered, voice trembling as she met the shadow's cruel gaze. "I'm doing this for you, Lily," the figure snarled, twisting its form, morphing into something even darker. "You can't hide from who you are. You are the key. The power is yours to command." Desperation surged through her, a fire igniting in her core. "I don't want it! I just want to be me!" But the shadows danced around her, whispering lies, turning her memories inside out. An explosion of sound jolted her. A crack echoed through the void, a fissure splitting the air like thunder. The ground shuddered beneath her feet. She steadied herself, heart pounding. But there was something deeper now, something beneath. The chaos. Her mother's dark laughter rang hollow, echoing against the walls of dread that surrounded her. And then it happened. A sudden bright flash erupted from the rift. The air filled with light, blinding. All voices muted, and for a moment, even the shadows recoiled. Lily stood frozen, watching as the light pierced through. Within it, figures emerged, one standing out more vividly than the rest. It was Ethan, yes, but beside him stood another, a woman, tall, elegant, with eyes piercing like daggers. She looked familiar. "Mom?" The word slipped from Lily's lips, confusion swirling. Who is she? The shadow of her mother twisted in fury, dark tendrils reaching towards the new figure. "No, you should not be here." The woman stepped closer, undeterred, and with her came a wave of energy that filled the room. The shadows hissed, recoiling as light illuminated the chaos. "You need to stop, Althea. This isn't how it's supposed to be." "Althea?" Lily echoed, eyes wide, mouth dry. The name tugged at her mind like a loose thread. Then, with a flicker, something shattered within the light, revealing a truth she could not have prepared for. The woman turned, and in the depths of her gaze, Lily saw everything. The warmth of home, the comfort of laughter, the caress of love she thought lost. "I am your mother, Lily, the true one." The shadow wrenched back, a sharp intake of breath. "That's not possible!" Althea hissed, rage and panic mingling in her voice. "Oh, but it is," the woman replied, voice steady, piercing through the dark. "You were never meant to hold her back. You wanted power for yourself." "What does that mean?" Lily felt her knees weaken, the world spinning beneath her. This couldn't be real. "Your power," her mother continued, "comes from a lineage that Althea twisted for her own desires. I left to protect you, to remove you from the darkness that threatens to consume you both." Confusion and disbelief choked her. "So all along, I've had this inside me? And you let me?" "Think it was necessary," her mother said, pain lacing her voice. "I had to hide you from the very shadows that now claw at your heels." But just as hope washed over her, the rift groaned, darkness seeping back. Althea's form flickered, malevolence twisting back to reveal the anger boiling just below the surface. You think you can steal her from me? You are nothing. Lily's heart raced. What have you done? A bolt of energy shot through the air as Althea lunged forward. Shadows writhing around her, shapes of darkness licking at the edges of light, trying to swallow them both. "Fight, Lily!" her mother shouted, desperation in her eyes. But uncertainty pulled. Lily back. What kind of fight was this? The truth wrapped around her heart, and as Althea glared, the fury in her eyes became something more. A promise to reclaim what was lost. In this moment of chaos, a question hung heavy in the air. If her mother was back, then how could she be free? What power were they trying to wield over her? And as Lily braced for the inevitable clash, she pondered. Could she trust the mother she thought she lost? Or had she merely exchanged one shadow for another? Lily felt the darkness swirling, weaving like smoke around them. Althea's laughter, cold and bitter, pierced the air, and as she reached for her, the ground beneath them trembled. "You think you can defy me? You're mine!" The shadows pulsed, a suffocating wave crashing, ready to drown her. But just as Lily summoned the strength to fight, a blinding light flared from her mother's form, illuminating the room. It was bright and pure, a stark contrast to the darkness. "Willie, listen to me!" Before she could register her mother's words, a thunderous explosion shook the ground. The rift split wider, a chaotic swirl of colors fighting against the abyss. Althea's grin faltered, replaced with pure rage. "You think light will save you?" But then, something monumental happened. As their world quaked, the shadows constricted, forcing them closer. Rift tore open wider, revealing an endless horizon, and from it poured memories, fragments of Lily's past, kaleidoscopic visions flowing like water. She saw herself, younger and innocent, playing piano in the sunlit fields. Laughter echoed as her family gathered around. Then shadows crept in, whispers of fear, taunts from the gala, all merging into a symphony of despair. The memories twisted, warping into images that didn't belong. Her hands stained with darkness, shadows laughing. Cold eyes watching her. "Stop!" she screamed, hands clenching into fists. Her heart raced, the pressure rising like steam. But with each moment, the visions intensified. The laughter grew louder, mocking her, belittling her. And then she understood. The puzzle into place. "You did this," she spat at Althea, realization striking with the force of thunder. "You're not just my mother. You're the darkness," Althea sneered, revealing sharp, glimmering teeth. "And you will embrace it." But just then, the space shifted again. A flash of lightning illuminated the room. And in that brilliant moment, Lily saw everything differently. The shadow morphed, and in an unbelievable twist, Althea's face shifted into someone else's. Someone she had known. "Wait! No! It can't be!" Lily gasped, stepping back. It was impossible. The face her mother wore shifted, revealing not only her true self, but a completely different identity. The energy shifted, a surge of recognition washing over her. Who are you?" Lily stammered, backing away. The realization hit with icy clarity. "You're not my mother at all." Althea's laughter shattered the air, a mixture of hysteria and triumph. That's right, I am much more than you ever imagined. Your mother's shackles have kept you blind to your true lineage. Lily's mind reeled, the ground feeling like it was slipping beneath her. What do you mean? What is my true lineage? The shadows thickened, swirling in a frenzy. The light dimming, panic surged through her as the pieces unraveled. You're the heirs to a legacy far more powerful than you're aware of. Your mother's protection was a prison. Everything twisted in her gut as knots of betrayal churned within her. No, this can't be happening, she cried out, her voice barely above a whisper now. And then, with a sudden, shocking surge, the air erupted in waves of energy. Light flared, shadows ripping apart. A scream pierced through the chaos, a sound filled with agony and longing. In the blink of an eye, Lily saw Ethan behind the veil, struggling to break free from chains of darkness, eyes filled with panic, calling her name. Lily, don't lose yourself. Fight it! But just as she reached for him, the reality spun again. The shadows clawed at her, revealing a deeper truth that threatened to swallow her. Whole, and in that moment, every connection, every truth she thought she knew, collapsed into a single, resounding question. Who was she, really? Her heart raced, hope and fear entwined like a twisted vine. What was left of her identity in this storm of chaos? Would she choose light or embrace the darkness that ran through her veins? As the world tore apart around her, the decision loomed, heavy and cold, waiting for her answer. What would she become? Lily felt the air still around her, heavy with uncertainty. The shadow's laugh echoed, twisting her thoughts. Althea was more than just a monster. She was a reflection of everything Lily had feared, all enmeshed in darkness. You think you can get inside my head? I will find a way to fight you, she shouted, each word laced with defiance. The shadows writhed closer, wrapping around her legs as she struggled to keep her footing. You're too late, Althea hissed, eyes gleaming with malicious delight. You cannot resist what you are. Suddenly, the air shifted, like a tide turning. A deep rumble filled the space, and Lily stumbled back, nearly losing her balance. What's happening? She cried, panic rising like bile in her throat. In a flash, the world splintered. A crack ripped through the air, jagged and sharp, cutting their chaotic reality like glass. Light poured through, a blinding stream, pushing back the shadows that threatened to swallow her whole. For a moment, everything went silent. Time itself seemed to pause. And then it came, a figure bursting through the light, tall and radiant, with an intensity that made Lily squint. As the light dimmed, she saw who it was. Her heart seized, a mix of relief and horror crashing over her. Mom? The words slipped from her lips like a whisper of hope. But this was different. This was not the mother she thought she knew. No, it can't be. Her mother stepped forward, eyes dancing with an unfamiliar light, leaving trails of warmth behind her. My dear Lily, she said, voice echoing. With a symphony of emotions, it's time to awaken the truth. No, Althea roared, fury igniting like a wildfire. You will not take her from me. Lily's heart thundered. She couldn't comprehend what she was witnessing. Mom, who are you really? The woman, her mother, paused, and in that moment, the world held its breath. I am the part of you that you must remember. Her voice was soft, yet commanding, a melody that traveled straight to Lily's heart. But you left! You disappeared! Lily felt the tightness in her chest swell, past pain battling against newfound hope. All those years, alone. I had to conceal the truth to protect you. You are far more powerful than. You understand! A descendant from a line meant to command. The shadows around Althea recoiled, absorbed by the radiant light emanating from Lily's mother. No, Althea screamed, the scream echoing louder than the roar of a storm. You can't do this! She's mine! But something shifted in the air, a ripple of energy that turned the tide. Light surged around Lily, and she felt the truth bubbling beneath her skin. Memories invaded her mind of ancient songs, of lost legacies, of a power that had been dormant for too long. With a tremor in her voice, she faced Althea. You're nothing without the shadows. You twisted what was meant to be beautiful. In response, a gut-wrenching howl reverberated in the air, cold and harrowing. Althea's figure quivered, shadows swirling angrily around her. You think you can defeat me? I am darkness incarnate. You don't know what I'm capable of. At that moment, something changed. A sudden pulse of energy washed over Lily, a wave of courage breaking through fear. No, I'm not afraid. Then everything shattered. Althea lunged, the air crackling with tension. In the blink of an eye, the ground split beneath Lily's feet. An explosion of light consumed everything, and she felt herself being pulled apart, torn between two worlds, light and shadow. As the darkness engulfed her once more, screams erupted from behind her. Lily, no! It was Ethan's voice, raw with desperation. In that split second, a binding realization struck her. She wasn't just the key to this conflict. She was destined to bring everyone together, or tear them apart. And in the cacophony, something deeper unfolded, a staggering truth that threatened to unravel everything she held dear. The essence of who she was now began to bud, blooming like a dark rose in the sunlight. What had she released? What was her fate? Would she embrace it all, or let the shadows claim her forever? The final pulse of power struck, and her heart raced with uncertainty, leaving her teetering on the brink of destiny. As the light pulsed, Lily felt something within her shift. The room shimmered with energy, the shadows recoiling from the brilliance radiating off her mother. Embrace who you are, Lily. It's time to seize your power, Althea snarled, the darkness swirling around her. But Lily felt the warmth growing in her chest, filling her with courage. You can't control me, she shouted, her voice rising above the chaos. With a burst of resolve, she reached deep within, tapping into the music that had always flowed through her veins. Every note she had ever played flooded back, igniting a fire that radiated strength. This is my true self, she cried, and as she did, the shadows convulsed, retreating in horror. The air crackled with energy and Lily's fingers danced in the air, crafting melodies that resonated with the very fabric of the room. The notes intertwined, forming a symphony of light that surged forward, blasting through the gloom. Althea screamed, but her voice faded as the melody enveloped her, unraveling the dark threads of her power. "No! You think you can take this from me? I won't let you!" Althea's form began to flicker, shadows clawing at the light as she writhed in desperation. "You've held so many captive. It's time for you to face the truth," Lily shouted, pushing the music further, pouring all her pain, all her love into it. With a final crescendo, the light burst forth, exploding in a wave that shattered Althea's hold and engulfed the shadows, banishing them into nothingness. As silence fell, the warmth enveloped Lily and her mother, merging into one radiant light that felt like home. Althea's shriek faded, leaving only the soft echoes of laughter, memories intertwined with hope. "Lily, your future is here. Together we can write a new legacy," her mother said, smiling. And in that moment, everything shifted. Lily felt herself transform, the heavy past lifting. No more shadows, only light, she vowed, determination coursing through her. The space around them dissolved into glimmers of color, and slowly everything came back to focus. She was standing in her bedroom again, the piano there, whispering. But now it felt different, alive, inviting. Ethan stood nearby, eyes wide with awe. The darkness in him had vanished. "Lily," he whispered, relief flooding his voice. "You did it." "I couldn't have done it without you," she replied, stepping closer. Their hands met, a spark igniting in the connection. "What matters now is that we face everything together." With her mother at her side, a new chapter began. The weight of the past slowly faded as hope took root. "This is only the beginning," her mother said, the light surrounding them. And with that, Lily nodded, looking at Ethan. She felt the warmth of possibility. Their journey had just begun. Together they would restore what had been lost and build a future bathed in light. But as they stood hand in hand, the whispers of the past still lingered in the air, echoing unanswered questions of destiny. What other shadows lurked in the peripheries of their lives? What journeys awaited them beyond the horizon? In that charged moment, a truth settled in Lily's chest. Theirs would be a story to be written together, a tale of light and shadow, of triumph over despair. You need to subscribe now so you don't miss the upcoming exclusive stories. This is the moment to show your support. Smash the like button now. To feed the algorithm, flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. And don't wait another second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to know this conclusion. If you like stories about farmers and the everyday life on the farm, and want to know what really happens in the daily lives of the biggest farmers in the world, the hidden stories of the richest owners and the secrets of the farm girls that the media doesn't reveal, check out our virtual book with the most famous and secret stories from the farm. Click on the first link in the video comments and get yours now.